Hello there, Flameborn, and welcome back to another video in Enshrouded. I have been busy building our new base here in the new water biome, the tropical biome, with the Wake of Water update. Last time I built the townhouse. This time I've been working on the farming area. As you can see right over here, we've got a cute little windmill, which is quite a simple building, but it's my first venture in using more props to actually build some of the structures. And behind it we have a big barn and some stables for all of the different creatures that we can have in the game. Besides that, I've also worked on a bunch of farm fields, including some rice fields here with water irrigation so they can actually grow, some water flowing down into the rest of the town, and another field right there at the back. So today's video, I'm going to show you around this entire new addition to our town. First of all, if we start here at the town hall that I showed off in the previous video, we can see quite a nice view over on the other side of the lake. Well, actually on the side of the lake here, you can already see some infrastructure being placed down. There's going to be a whole town here on the hill, slowly expanding onto the lake, connecting back up to the town hall that I built in the last episode, which is also our storage system. And luckily Squirrel has been working very hard at getting all the stuff organized here, so it's actually practical now as well. And I've been working very hard on adding some farms, working on some waterways. As you can see, I think we already had the waterfall last time. It's flowing a lot better now. I think they did an update to improve some of the water physics. And as you can see, we have a little windmill, which I quite like. It's very simple little building, but more importantly, we also have a whole like farm area. We have farm fields, and we have a lovely barn and stables. So yeah, we have a pathway coming down the hills here too, and it actually connects over here on the side, because this leads off to one of the pre-built structures, which of course is outside of our region, but I kind of like connecting up to the paths we have. I think our region kind of goes this far somewhere over here, so I could still build something on this platform. I might build like a little entrance or gateway, just to have a little bit more of a signal that you're entering our town. But more importantly, today we're taking a look here at the lovely farming area. I definitely need to add some more details around the path and bringing this to life, but I'm quite happy with the general overview of the place so far. So we have some decorations already in place, even a fallen over version over here. But yeah, more importantly, we have some lovely new buildings that have been added. We have a little dog running around, as well as a cat somewhere, I think. Oh, there we go. There it is, running around. We have all the animals here in these lovely little stables, which is also just kind of the corner of the building plot that we have. So we have all of the different animal types, I believe, that we have available at the moment. So we have normal little goats. We have the mountain goats over here. We have the armadillos here. We have the yaks right next door. And then inside the main barn, which I quite like the look of, we actually have, well, the dog and a cat, but we also have the birds, the other birds, the other chickens. We have the capybaras, of course. We have the deer, and we have the little rabbits here too. So we actually have all the creatures, and we do have some access here up to the top. I also added some cobwebs in as little details. I haven't added anything to the top layer yet. I might add some farming crafting tables so that we could do a lot of crafting in here. But yeah, quite happy with the style and the vibe of the place. Obviously it's a little bit more inspired by the mountain biome, using the conifer wood from that biome, using the granite roofs. I think it's the castle wall blocks on the floor. I'm not entirely sure. There's so many different blocks, but yeah, you can see I'm starting to play around more with using props as part of the build, which I'm quite happy with. And I've spent quite a few minutes, hours, whatever you want to say, detailing the place, as you can see, making it overgrown in places, adding little patches on the roofs, destroying some things, decaying them to make it look more alive, and adding all sorts of rotating props around, just to really try to add a bunch of life to the place. And we have a watchtower right there in the corner, not because that makes the most sense for a stables or a farm, but because there's actually a bit of shroud right behind us, which is actually technically still part of our zone. I think our zone goes up about until here, which is of course well, is great, but we can't really do much with it. So I've added some spikes here along the back, kind of to help with the storytelling that we are trying to keep that at bay, to keep everything safe in here in our lovely stable area. So this is the normal farming field over here. Right now it's filled with wheat. It's a decent size. I think we can definitely grow a decent amount of plants here without any issues. Depending on what I'll do over there, there might be another field there. There could be another field if we need it. But I kind of like that now the whole farming district kind of feels very connected and looks quite nice in general. So we'll see if we'll need it. But for the time being, this is going to be the farms. We have, of course, all the different animal pens. We actually do have the tower. Now, I haven't decorated this yet, but I mean, I might not. But it is accessible, and we do have a ladder going up. So we have the tower here in the corner, kind of decorated as a built as a watchtower because of the shroud that we have. But we can go up all the different layers. I think we should be able to jump up here, and then there's another ladder going to the top. So yeah, there's definitely a decent amount of space in this build. I placed down one of these braziers just because I think they look very, very cool. And since it's a watchtower, we do have like an airing hole there with like a little second roof overlooking the shroud, because there's always a little squid that likes to annoy me when I'm building. So I figured it would be appropriate to have like a dedicated watchtower, use some of these fences to make it look like boarded up wood, and then we have some of these little posts as the supports for the roof, which again, trying to learn to use props more often in the part of the building, but I think it looks quite nice in general. Then we have some of the railings as supports of the tower, and the windows are also a prop, which is I think worked out quite nicely. And then we have the double layered roof so that the smoke can kind of well, it goes through it, of course, but it should go out the sides, basically. That's the way I tried to design it. But yeah, very happy with the look of the watchtower. Definitely adds a lot of character, and in general I'm having a really good time building again, trying to learn all the different materials in the game, all the different options in the game. And yeah, I really like the way the stables came out. I think they look quite nice. I'm having more and more fun playing around with all the different props, making those useful, and you know, utilizing them maybe not in the way they were necessarily intended, but just adding more life to the place. I do maybe want to add some banners coming down from the sides there as well, just to kind of add even more life to the place. But yeah, it's an ever ongoing process. I don't think I'll ever be fully done. I kind of just want to take a moment and think about it, and maybe add some more details in some places. But I already quite like the way it turned out. And then we have the barn here itself, which I also really like the design of. It's quite the typical barn shape with the two side pieces, and then the main piece that's a little bit higher. We have one of these things that sticks out, again using some of those poles as supports, which is quite cool. And then we have the little hook to carry up supplies or goods up there. Now this is also accessible, of course, so I could use this, and I might use this for like a bunch of seed beds and stuff, so that in survival we can use this just to grow and make all sorts of plants and seedlings if we need to, because there is a decent amount of space. Otherwise it's just gonna probably be decorative and bunch of hay in here. But since you can't really see it from the outside, I don't think I'm going to focus too much on interiors for the time being, as I'm really just enjoying building this town and bringing it to life and adding decorations everywhere along the streets, adding life to the place before I think I go in and start decorating places like that. But I do really like the way that this came out, and since I've mostly only built hobbit holes in Enshrouded, it's actually really refreshing working on some proper structures and, you know, getting some proper buildings done. Now then, over here we have, of course, the cute little windmill, which itself I quite like the way that turned out. It's a very simple house. The main building is just 2 foundations and then just building it up layer above, and then the windmill there. That's kind of the point of the whole build. But this little addition here to the side, I think, just adds a little bit more character to it. And yeah, in the end, quite happy with that result. And then we have a new water source here, which is supplying the water for the farms. I like the overgrown look to blend into the rest of the biome. Got a little water source in that hill that's kind of sprouting into this. Then I can close this off if I just want to collect a bunch of water. Now the dog and the cat seem to really like to throw themselves in there, and I need to keep rescuing them every single time. So I'm not sure. Luckily they don't seem to drown, because that would be very sad. But yeah, we can close this off if we just want to gather the water here and maybe want to not use the farm as a wet farm. And she just always stands right there in the middle. I don't know why. They're all weird. Then we have another spot here where we could close it off for the fields, but as you can see right now, it makes sure that these fields are sufficiently underwater, which is what rice wants in the game. And then there's another one going on to the next field. So yeah, we have this field up here for the rice. Seems to be quite effective. I like the little decorations that I've been able to do here with making it overgrown as well, with the water layer on the stairs. Bunch of decorations around the little windmill in general, which I quite like. A little seed bed, of course, but also just a bunch of storage. Ooh, I need to replace that because that's poking out. We don't want that. And even a fallen over bucket. As I said, really just playing around and learning a bunch of things. We actually do have the mill in here, so we don't only have the windmill on the outside, we do actually have the practical function of it. And then we have the start of the ways into the town itself. I do really like this little corridor in general. I think it adds quite a bit of life. And then we have the staircase that is going to start going down into the rest of the town that I'll build on the lake. But we have some nice corners here. We have a second entrance here. There's nothing really behind it. It's just because otherwise this was quite tall, and now it at least looks like something might be there. We have the stairs going down here, and then this is probably where I'm going to build another house, and it's going to be the start of like the main town area, I think, and eventually lead to the bridge, which leads to the town hall. It also is where the water ends up, so everything from the farms flows down here and is caught up in this little canal. And right now that's blocked off, and it's making sure that it doesn't go too high. So this is kind of the end all. But I do really like the slope, the new drag temple blocks, but also the roof pieces, which is how I got these smooth angles. They're really nice for this kind of thing and to play around with. And since we're going for the tropical vibe, I think they fit in quite nicely in general. But yeah, really just having a good time and having a lot of fun playing around with all the different options. Then we have this little pass through over here. We have more decorations everywhere, and then this leads up in between the farms basically. So this is where you could close this little gate if you want to close off one field from the water but not the top field. There's a lot of options also, because I think it just looks really cool to have all these different systems in place. And for a more non-roleplay reason, it's also just a little bit safer when I was walking on the fields and testing if they were waterproof, because I could do it part by part. We have another one here just before it goes down into the slide. But yeah, you can see there's another field here filled with water so that we can grow all of our plants. And it seems after the recent patch they did for the water, it is filling up a little bit higher than it used to. But it's still fine. We got a little scarecrow that is always getting wet feet. But yeah, quite like the way this is all turned out and is all interconnected with each other. Yeah, I just really like the general picture here. I mean, look at this general angle. I think this looks really, really cool. We have the little windmill turning around. The moving objects definitely add a lot of life to the place. So the windmill, but also the scarf on the scarecrows really does do a lot. And of course, the flowing water. And yeah, then we have the barn and the stables, the watchtower in the background for making this corner of the world feel very lived in and very much, yeah, kind of finished. As I said, I might still add and adjust some of the details, especially outside and on the streets. But in general, it's definitely giving the vibes that I wanted. And I've just been really getting into the Enshrouded building again, which is really nice. And I'm really excited to continue the town. If there's any suggestions for specific builds or things that I should include in the little town as we move on to the lake part. So probably in the next part I'm going to work on is this part here on the side of the land before we move into the actual lake town part and the Venice inspired part, I suppose. I think that's probably what I'm going to use for inspiration, something like that. And then I also really want to build the bridge so that we don't have to have this temporary one anymore. But that's probably what I'll work on next. Also, I did in fact record me building the two buildings. So the little windmill house as well as the main stables and barn. So if you'd like to see a video to follow me along as I build those, let me know and then I'll edit those along as well. It is without all the little details, all the little decorations. I did that afterwards, but the main structure itself, so the main stables, the watchtower, this barn, as well as the little windmill, I did record so I could edit those up to separate videos if you want to see that. And yeah, then the town is hopefully slowly going to continue to grow and yeah, get more and more awesome little details and stories. And I want to have the NPCs that have a home each and wandering people around the town that hopefully won't just get stuck in the fields and then do nothing anymore. It's probably because he can't reach her bed, which is still in there. So yeah, we'll try to fix that because I do want to kind of have them walking around and adding some life to the towns. But if they're just going to fall in the fields or the water, then I guess it's going to be short-lived. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed the little tour of the town. And yeah, looking forward to your reactions and your suggestions. And I hope to see you around in the next video or the next stream. For now, goodbye.